UNMASKED by Howard K. Pollack. Chapter 1. Awakened by the faint vibration beneath his pillow, Detective Lance Dornhuber rolled over, slipped his hand underneath the pillow, and pulled out his cell phone. Looking at the time, he shook the grog from his head and sat up. 9:30. Shit, overslept again. Mental note, stop drinking. Dorney here. What's up, Captain? He climbed out of bed and walked towards the bathroom. We got bodies, and one of the Vicks is from a very prominent family. I need you to investigate ASAP. Captain Kroger cleared his throat. And you'll need to keep it quiet. This one can't get out. At least, not yet. Sure thing, Dorney said. You got any details? Murder scene is over on Snell Isle. Brightwater's Boulevard, big mansion on the water. Wife of some real rich dude, killed in her bed sometime last night. I'll text you the address. Eddie's over there now. Give me 15. I'll be on my way. Sporting a 2-day beard, Dorney soaped and wiped his pits and sprayed a fog of deodorant under each, dabbed cologne behind his ears, pulled his underwear out at the top, and fogged his crotch. That'll work. Another day, another spray. He smiled into the mirror, then frowned at the lines on his forehead that seemed to grow deeper every day. Mental note, take a shower tonight. 10 minutes later, Dorney was headed down 22nd Avenue North towards Snell Isle in his '05 Toyota Camry. When he came to the waterfront, he shook his head. He never could get used to seeing how the other half lived. Coffee Pot Bayou and the houses all around it were gorgeous. This part of St. Petersburg was home to the very wealthy. Sports figures, celebrities, doctors, and lawyers all owned houses there. The properties by the bridge, while beautiful, didn't hold a candle to the mansions on Tampa Bay. Once he crossed over the small overpass onto the Isle, he breezed past the statues of panthers, lions, and griffins that adorned Snell Isle Boulevard. He headed towards the Renaissance Vinoy Golf Course, a private club that catered to the ultra-rich. Following the GPS on his phone, Dorney turned onto a side street and found his way to Brightwater's Boulevard. His eyes practically popped out of their sockets as he drove along the boulevard. Sprawling mansions surrounded by finely manicured lawns stood majestically behind tall palms that swayed in the breeze. How do you get to be this fucking rich? He asked himself out loud. Pulling up to the gate, he saw Detective Eddie Rumson, a short, portly fellow with a receding hairline, standing in the drive talking to a gray-bearded old man in a paint-stained cap, a white T-shirt, and shorts. Dorney hopped out of the car. "Come on up, Dorney," Eddie said, waving his hand. The old man gave him a quick nod of the head as he approached. "Who's this?" Dorney asked, thumbing at the old man. "Jimmy Jenkins," the old man said. Eddie cut him off and pointed. "He was working across the street in the little park over there." "Yeah, I was cleaning and painting the panther statue a little ways over, and I look up, and the maid comes a-running out the house screaming and crying," Jenkins recounted eagerly. "I trot over, and she tells me the missus is dead in her bed along with someone else. So I follow her into the house, and she takes me up to the bedroom and shows me. Shit, I ain't never seen a dead body before, let alone 2 in one place. Holes right in the middle of their foreheads. Dead as can be." "You been here long?" Dorney asked. "About 40 years or so." "No, I mean here, working on the statue." "Oh, shit, sorry. I thought you meant..." Dorney interrupted. "It's okay. When'd you get here today?" "I started working about an hour ago." "You see anyone go in or out of the house since you've been here?" Dorney asked. "Not a one, other than the maid, like I said." "Okay, I'm going to ask you not to speak to anyone about anything that you've seen or heard. You're now a material witness to a serious crime, and we can't have you talking to the press or anyone else. It may put you in danger. You understand?" "Gotcha, boss." Jenkins nodded his head rapidly. "And we're going to have some more questions for you, so give me your contact info and don't disappear." Dorney turned to Eddie. "All right, where's the maid?" "Carter's got her inside. She's real broken up. I wanted to call an ambulance for her, but the captain said we needed to keep it quiet, so I figured I'd wait for you." Dorney said. "Anyone else here?" "Not yet. CSI is on the way. There's a butler, but he was off last night, and the maid said he didn't come home as far as she knew." "Okay, let's go inside. I want to see the scene and get some first impressions before the CSI crew get here." The two men walked through massive wooden double doors that Dorney thought looked like they came from a castle somewhere in England. The entryway was grand, the ceilings at least 30 feet high, with 2 winding staircases, one on each side, leading up to a balcony. Straight ahead, through another set of French doors, sunshine glittering off the water shone through floor-to-ceiling windows. "A little small for my taste," Dorney said, gazing up at the chandelier hanging between two staircases. Eddie smiled. "You think?" The bedroom, where the bodies had been found, was upstairs, tucked far away down a long corridor. It, too, was huge, with high ceilings, a complete sitting room off to the left, and to the right, off in the distance, another set of open double doors exposing a closet larger than Dorney's apartment. Against the far wall, flanked by two floor-to-ceiling windows, was an oversized bed. Propped up on pillows, looking almost alive, except for the holes in their heads, sat two women. Dorney and Eddie put on latex gloves and approached the bed, careful not to touch anything or otherwise compromise the scene. "Were they found like that, Eddie? Sitting up so prim and proper, naked breasts exposed?" "Yep, posed. Maid said she found them in the bed there, but didn't realize they'd been shot until she got close." "Okay, who's who?" "Lainey Bingham is the one on the right." "Any idea who the other one is?" "Maid hadn't seen her before, and I haven't had a chance to look around for ID or personal effects." "Okay, do that," Dorney said as he examined the wound on Mrs. Bingham. Small caliber, probably a .22. Almost no blood. He gently raised the covers to reveal the rest of the body. "Naked all the way down, Eddie." Eddie nodded and continued searching the room. Dorney walked around the bed and lifted the covers again. "She's naked, too. Wonder if we've got a jealous husband thing going on here? This one looks personal. Other than that, this place is clean as a whistle. No sign of a struggle. They must have been surprised as they slept. Any idea where the man of the house is?" "Maid says he's away on business, been gone since Monday. Oh, and check out the closet. There's a safe inside. No sign of forced entry. Looks like it might have been opened with the combination. The safe was ripped apart inside, and all the contents that are left are spilled out on the floor. You gotta see this safe, man. It's like 5 feet tall. It looks like it would withstand an explosion." Dorney looked inside from the doorway. Hard to believe the motive was robbery with two bodies positioned like that. "Seems like it. If it was a robbery, there'd be no reason to kill them, let alone prop them up like that." Dorney said, "Who knows? Maybe the perp is an opportunist. Two naked women in bed gets him going, so he kills one because he can't handle two and have his way, and then rapes the other, kills her and puts them both in a pose for entertainment value while he raids the safe." "Could be," Eddie said. "But how'd he open the safe?" "Good question. Maybe he coaxed the combination out of Bingham before he shot her? Probably told her he wouldn't kill her if she gave it up, then shot her anyway. Real nice guy, huh?" "Well, this one has scandal written all over it," Dorney said. "But we'll have to see what CSI comes up with. Let's go talk to the maid." The two men walked down the stairs and all the way across the house, which seemed like a 5-minute walk, exited to the back from a breezeway past the kitchen, and made their way to the maid's quarters. Inside, Carter was still consoling the maid, who sat on her bed, stoop-shouldered, hands covering each other in her lap. Her face looked drawn and pale, and her eyes were red from crying. Behind it all, she was still a striking girl, not more than 27 years old, and gorgeous. She had long dark hair, soft brown eyes, and a matching tan. Dorney approached silently, looking at Carter, and nodded. Eddie stood behind and a few feet away. "So, Carter, what has she told you so far?" "Not much, Dorney. She's really beside herself and in shock. Basically, she says she made her way upstairs just after 9, as she does every day, and the door to the bedroom was already open. She saw the two Vicks in bed and at first didn't realize they were dead, so she was very embarrassed. She called out but got no response, and as she got closer, she saw what she thought was a mark on their foreheads and called out again. When she didn't get any answer, she went to the bed, and that's when she realized it was bullet holes. She screamed and ran out of the house and was met by the old guy out front." "All right, I'll take over from here. Thanks, Carter. Please go out front, and when CSI gets here, bring them upstairs, and we'll meet you up there when we're done." Dorney turned to the maid and said softly, "I'm so sorry for your loss." He took her hand in his. "But I'm going to need to ask you a few questions. Will that be all right?" She nodded and sniffled. Dorney released her hand. "First, what is your name?" In accented English, she said, "Yolanda Estevez, but please call me Yoli." "All right, Yoli. How long have you worked here?" "It will be 2 years this summer." Do you know who the second woman was in the bed? I never see her before. Okay, can you tell me who lives here in the house? Mr. B and Missy B. That's what I call them. Anyone else? Yoli said. Well, in the main house, Miss Ashley come around sometimes, but only when Mr. B is home. And Mr. Darrell, he lives in the other room down the hall from me. He works here too, but not yesterday. What does he do? He cooks, make food, and serves. I clean house and do laundry. Okay, and why wasn't Mr. Darrell here yesterday? He had day off since Mr. B away, and Missy B no want to be bothered or have dinner. And who is Miss Ashley? She Mr. B's daughter, not Missy B's, but she not come around for at least a month. I see. And so where were you last night? In here. Missy B no let me in the house after 9 at night until 9 in morning. Is that normal? Dorney asked. Oh, yes, always like that. They want privacy, and we no allow in house after 9 o'clock at night. So they were very strict? See, oh, yes. Mr. B very important man. He no want me in same room with them, so if they in kitchen, I leave. If they in den, I leave. Do you like working here? See, sorry, yes, my English not so good. Sometimes I forget. I do like work here. Nice place, clean and big, very beautiful. I come from Cuba, and we very poor there. So this very nice here. Good, okay. Well, did you hear any noises? Maybe even gunshots? No, I don't hear anything from house from here. Very quiet.